Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ian Preston here on my second YouTube channel, Ian Preston Reviews. Right now I'm seeing a commercial of the new Super Mario Bros. Movie right now. Looks great, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about a movie that just turned 40 years old today. 40th anniversary of the 1983 film The Outsiders, starring C. Thomas Howell, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace, Tom Cruise, Ralph Macchio, and, from The Karate Kid, and, who else? Ralph Macchio, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, and, Emilio Estevez, and, it's rated PG. Came out Friday, March 25th, 1983. My mom got to see it in the theater, and she said her and her friends really liked all the guys back then. But anyway, first time I watched it, she just showed it to me before I watched it in my 7th grade class because we read the novel. Originally, the novel was published in the 60s, but this is the movie we're reviewing. Excuse me, it all starts off with Ponyboy writing about when I stepped out into the sunlight, and then a song by Stevie Wonder titled Stay Gold was playing during the opening credits. And credits kind of took a little long time because, how the credits were back, or opening credits were back then. But other than that, if any of you guys watched old movies back then in the 80s and the 90s, 70s, 90s, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. But anyway, anyway, it all starts off with, it starts out with Matt Dillon's character, Dally, standing outside somewhere, and then Ralph Macchio's character, Johnny Cade, and Ponyboy Curtis, C. Thomas Howell's character, they walk, and then you can see people fighting, and with knives, the cops are there, and they're playing Van Morrison's Gloria, and they sneak into a movie, and there's some younger kids getting in trouble, Dally messing with some girls, but Ponyboy doesn't, and he meets her, and I can't remember her name, but she has red hair, maybe Cherry or something because of her red hair. Anyway, yeah, there's unusual names. Apparently, after the movie, they meet up with 2-Bit, Emilio Estevez's character, and Ponyboy can sometimes get a little upset sometimes because he lost his parents. Him and his brothers lost their parents a long time ago. They were ran over by a train. Their parents were, and the next thing you know, somebody named Bob and some Socs, because there's some people, the Greasers, who are poor, and then the Socs who are rich. Apparently, they have a confrontation. They take Cherry with them because she's a Soc too, and 2-Bit goes back home. Johnny decides to stay in the lot with Ponyboy because his parents are abusive. They were fighting in the room, and the next thing you know, Johnny sadly breaks down, saying, "Wish there was a better place without greasers or Socs." But Ponyboy says it's like that in the country. He has a dream, he falls asleep, and it was a dream about going out with his parents on a picnic in the countryside. And then the train hits them, and then he wakes up. Apparently Ponyboy goes home, and then he tells Johnny, "If you get cold, come to my house." And then Patrick Swayze's character is still awake. His Daryl, he comes wondering where he was, asking, "Where the hell have you been? Do you know what time it is? It's 2 o'clock in the morning." And then Soda Pop, Rob Lowe's character, comes in wondering where he was. Rob Lowe tried sticking up for C. Thomas Howell, and then Derry yelled at Soda Pop for doing that, and then Ponyboy tried standing up for him. Derry shoves him. Ponyboy runs away, and then he goes and then tells Johnny that they're running away. He can't take it anymore. He explained what happened. They smoke a little bit, and they have another confrontation with the Socs. Bob and the Socs try to drown Ponyboy in a fountain, but Johnny breaks out, uses a knife to stab Bob to death, and then all the Socs run away. and then they leave Bob's corpse where he's at, and the next thing you know, the fountain's full of blood. They go and tell Dally that Johnny killed a Soch. He tells them where to go. They go up onto a church hill, and they like, I don't know, spend a couple of days there smoking. Dally meets up with them. He gets a note from Derry because they're worried about Soda Pop and Derry are worried about him, and then they leave the church for a bit to go to Dairy Queen to get something to eat. Dally drives like a jerk, and then someone's yelling, "Hey, watch a jerk!" something, and then they get some delicious barbecue sandwiches from Dairy Queen, and then Ponyboy, well, earlier they did cut their hair so the police don't see Ponyboy and Johnny, and they bleach Ponyboy's hair too, and apparently Ponyboy wanted to turn themselves in, but Dally didn't want them to. Next thing you know, the church is on fire. Then they decide to go in to save some kids. Johnny stuff falls on Johnny. He gets injured badly. Ponyboy passes out. So does Dally, gets injured too. And then they go to the ER. Dally tells Ponyboy, "If you ever do a stunt like that again, I'm gonna kill you," he said, as they're in the hospital. Then luckily Ponyboy's alright, but Dally and Johnny is not so good, but Ponyboy reunites with Soda Pop and what was his name? Derry, and then they had to carry him home because Ponyboy was asleep, and then he gets to see Steve, Tom Cruise's character, and 2-Bit, Emilio Estevez's character, and then 2-Bit calls him, "Hey, he's the blonde monkey!" or something, and then 2-Bit and Ponyboy go out walking around a little bit, and then Ponyboy has a talk with Randy, one of the Soches, and then Ponyboy and 2-Bit run into Cherry, talked with her a little bit, and then later that evening they were getting ready for the Rumble. Ponyboy has a cough but pretended not to because he wanted to be in the Rumble with the Soches, and earlier they did visit Johnny, who doesn't look so good, saying he doesn't want to die yet. 16 years old. 16 years ain't long enough. And they also see Dally in the hospital, saying, "We're gonna do it for Johnny." And eventually, later on, he gets out of the hospital and joins the Rumble, and they all fight the Soches, and they win, kick them out of the neighborhood. And sadly, Dally and Ponyboy go to the hospital and watch Johnny die. When Johnny says, "Stay gold, Ponyboy, stay gold." The next thing you know, Dally is having a breakdown. Eventually, he rips up a magazine at a store, pulls a gun on the clerk, and steals the money. The clerk tries shooting Dally, and then next thing you know, he said, "Meet me in the park," and then on the phone with Ponyboy and Derry, but the cops, Dally commits suicide by letting the cops shoot him dead, and then Ponyboy fainted because he couldn't take any more deaths that night. And then late next morning, he gets a note from Johnny explaining what he meant by stay gold. He wants him to be gold. He wants him to be a good guy. And to tell Dally to look up at the sun and all, but Dally was already gone. So the movie ends with Ponyboy writing the story. Very sad ending. Very sad, emotional ending, having Johnny and Dally die. When I was reading this book, I was afraid Ponyboy was going to die too, but he doesn't. He survives the events of the Outsiders, but this did not do well at the box office because it hardly followed up with the book and all. But I rate this a 10 out of 10, as 80s movies come and go. Puts a smile on my face. My mom enjoys it, and thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, that way you notify right when video does come out. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and also subscribe for more reviews, reaction/reviews, and just plain old reviews. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Love y'all. On Ian Preston Reviews.